to Authors Write Aloud, the season 2 premiere. Yes, we're going to talk about some fun book marketing algorithms and content blocking because it seems that we are running into many issues along those lines as indie authors. So we are going to dive into that. Welcome to Authors Write Aloud. My name is Richard White, your lovely host. You can find me online, authorrichardwhite.com, and all the other fun places. Just look for Author Richard White, and you will probably find me. If not, throw me a message, TikTok me, whatever it is you got to do, and I'll lead you the way. Welcome to Authors Write Aloud season premiere. I want to introduce my lovely cast and special guests for the evening, V.S. Holmes, Catherine Hudson, and Dwayne Clayton. How is everyone this evening?
Doing great.
Hi.
Yeah, doing good.
So, a little bit about each one of you. I kind of got a little rundown real quick before we went live, and I got to share a little bit. So I'm going to let you guys tell the world who you are. Let's start with V.S. Holmes, or V for short.
Thanks so much for having me, first of all. I'm a sci-fi fantasy author. I live in New England, and I've been writing professionally since about 2008, first published in 2015, and my day job is as an archaeologist.
That's got to be fun.
Yeah.
You dig up stuff?
Dirt, yeah, dig up dirt both on people and with artifacts in it.
All right, Catherine, what is you're not an archaeologist, are you?
Most definitely not. No, I sit at a computer all day long. I also write fantasy and sci-fi, way in the dark fantasy, grimdark dystopian veins. I've been published since 2015, and my 6th book, Sleepwater Beat, came out the end of last year, and that's an international bestseller now, which is fantastic. That happened in April, and I've got lots more planned for 2020. I didn't put out anything this year. It was a super crazy year, but my day job is ghostwriting fiction, and then when I'm not doing that, I'm writing my own.
And Dwayne.
All right. Thanks for having me on the show, Richard. I am a retired paramedic and police officer. I spent 40 years in emergency services. And so I guess you write what you know. So I write crime thrillers. And I really try to bring the realism of the partnerships into play. So what happens in the car and the jabs that each give each other and the buttons that are pushed.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining me this evening for this lovely chat. First of all, I actually was able to connect with all of you through a lovely company, and I'd like to give him a quick shout out. So one of you, if you want to just kind of tell us a little bit about, is it Creative Edge?
That's it.
If one of you want to just kind of chime in and give me a little rundown on that, because I don't know everything about Mickey.
I volunteer, Kat.
Me too.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Perfect. I guess I'm the one to do it. Creative Edge Publicity and Mickey Mickelson. I believe that all 3 of us are Creative Edge represented clients. So Mickey is our publicist, and he sets us up with fantastic opportunities like this with Richard to be on the show, and puts us together in fun combinations of groups. And he's amazing. I have never experienced so much growth personally and in my author career as I have since coming to an agreement with Mickey and being represented by him. So he's a man.
I second that.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. Absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
All right. Seems like we got a little bit of an echo, but it doesn't seem to be too bad. So sorry about that, folks. If you are having a little bit of an audio problem on Facebook, we are also on YouTube over at author Richard White. You can check that out over there as well. I'm over there chit-chatting with some people, bugging people. So if the Facebook audio isn't all that great, we are over there at YouTube. Sorry for that. This is season 2 premiere. Audio is always a problem the first go. All right, let's dive a little bit into this demon that we face with book marketing and algorithms. What are you, as a group or as individuals, run into with issues with book marketing, but with the ongoing social media algorithms combating the marketing that we are doing as individuals?
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah.
One of my biggest issues is the fact that obviously most of us are on multiple platforms, and not just like social media platforms. There's so many like book specific platforms like Goodreads or BookBub, and you can run ads on any of these, but the algorithms are all completely different. Even though like half of them are owned by the same person. Thanks, Facebook. But I think trying to trying to navigate those and keep them all in your head when they have all these different roles is so challenging. And also they're always changing. And as soon as you get the hang of it, as soon as it starts to be successful, I feel like that's when they're like, oh,
Yep.
let's change that on you.
Oh, I gotta definitely agree with that. And it's a rat race trying to figure out which change they've made.
Yep. Yeah, because they don't tell us.
No, there's no fun in that. No, I agree with you absolutely. B. It comes down to like trying to hit that sweet spot between balancing the writing time, which there's never enough of, and then also doing all the marketing and doing all the uploading and updating and ads and social media content and engagement and all like there's just so much of it. And as of yet, I have still not found one place, one site, one application or piece of software that does everything I need it to do all at the same time, which would be a huge time saver, absolutely. And it gets really hard to not fall down the rabbit hole of writing. I'm writing all the time, completely ignoring the marketing and updates and the engagement, and vice versa. Like once I get sucked into the zone of, okay, I'm going to reply to 3 emails today, and I'm going to schedule posts for the week on all my social media platforms, and then all of a sudden it's like 6 hours later and I have written 200 words and 2,000 words of media content, which is not what I wanted to do that day. So it takes a lot of practice and patience and vigilance to maintain that balance, and also to not give up in learning how these things work. Just like with anything, and maybe especially being an indie author, at least in my experience, this isn't something that you automatically learn algorithms and you learn the different sites and the different marketing places and techniques, and then you're golden and good to go. Same thing as it's really, really, really hard and rare to publish your first book and then be done for the rest of eternity. You gotta stick with it, and that applies to literally every single aspect of being an indie author, especially. There's my take on it.
Yeah, I agree with everything you've said, especially the part about it taking time. And I find it takes my creativeness out of my head. And by the time I've spent 2 hours trying to get all the social media stuff done and I sit down to write, I've got nothing. I use my creativity up. I don't know, maybe I need more than 2 hours worth of creativity a day, but it just seems to suck the life out of me. Last year when I launched my first book, I was excited. I had 500 people on Facebook, and I thought, okay, 500 people. And if those 500 people tell people, and it'll just go crazy. Well, the ebook sales were negligible. The launch was a success. Lots of people came to the launch, and I couldn't figure out what had I done wrong. And at that time, I didn't know about the algorithms or understand what was happening. And what I thought should happen definitely didn't happen. And so I'm spending a lot of time learning about the algorithms too. I have a book launch coming up, and I'm working on a plan that I hope will work. And I got a couple people looking at it, and one lady's kind of a social media IT expert. So hopefully we say the right things, we have the right words in the right places, and people will see it. But when only 4% of people see your Facebook posts, that really cuts it down. And I've had people a week, 2 weeks, a month after my launch say, hey, I just saw on Facebook you had a launch. Why didn't you let me know sooner? So those are the challenges.
I'll jump in with that. And at first I'd experienced some of the algorithm issues, but I really wasn't privy to exactly how things were rolling. Especially with the new algorithm they rolled out earlier in 2019. Up until I think it was May when we did Brain to Books cyber convention. This year it was under the OWS, Our Right Side cyber convention, and we had, it was like 200 authors participate in an event, all online. We had live video coverage, and there's tons of different events that we run with this thing. We do storytelling, we do live video panels, we do a trade show where you can go in and just shop for books, basically. And there's just a ton of different events that we do, and that's just touching the base of it. One of the events that the fantasy authors had, and I think it was science fiction and fantasy, or fantasy authors had taken part in, was a group takeover in Facebook. And what they had done is reached out to a fantasy readers group and worked and collaborated with them and got it set up so that a handful of those authors partaking in this event had admin privileges so that they could come in and post whenever they wanted to during a 3-day weekend. And I went in and joined as a member just so that I could see their posts, because it was something that I wanted to do with the genre that I was managing in the future. So I wanted to learn how it all worked. I had not gotten a single notification, nor did I see a post unless I physically went into the group and looked for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think I was Wednesday or Thursday that following week. The event was already concluded, and I was on a show with someone else, and we were talking about this algorithm thing. We were talking about some other stuff. And all of a sudden I got these notifications, and it was like ding, da da ding, da da ding on Facebook. So after the show, I went on and logged on Facebook, checked things out, and lo and behold, there's all these notifications that people had posted. I'm starting to finally see stuff in the news feed, and I'm like, it's like 4 days later.
Yeah.
So that was really my first huge experience with seeing it firsthand, how the algorithm works. And I mean, I'm not an expert on it. I'll never figure it out. And by the time I even get to the slightest little bit figuring it out, they'll change it again anyway.
Yep.
So it's going to be, it is tough. But I mean, like I was having a conversation with my mom just a few days ago. She's not seeing any of my posts, and I'm on her see first list. I'm on her follow notification list and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, I haven't seen you post nothing in a week. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I post every day. If I'm not posting something to do with my books or writing on my personal profile, I'm posting about 300 memes or something, because I am a meme freak on Facebook. That's pretty much my MO over on Facebook now. Unless it's something to do with my book, I'm doing something with memes just because I think they're hilarious.
I think it's also really genre dependent. Not, I mean, obviously marketing is genre dependent, but I've noticed too that like, and I think part of it is money, but they're going to cater the algorithms are going to cater to the people who have big budgets, but also the people who might make more money. But it's like a total arbitrary choice, and I've noticed like depending on certain ads that I'm running, the words I use, they'll like when I use a lot of LGBT words or something like that, or if I even mention romance, my ad doesn't do nearly as well. And I mean, these are targeted ads. I've done the research, and I think there's something there too where they're, I don't want to use the word stifling, but maybe. And I don't think there's an amount of research that you can do that can control like what they're doing in the background, because you have no idea.
Yeah, it's all just trial and error. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like you try something out and compare it to the last thing you did and build off of that. That's really the only option.
Yeah, so we know a whole bunch of things that don't work.
Yeah, we've got
all of
pretty
it.
good repertoires of that, I would say. Like,
I tried Facebook ads earlier Facebook ads earlier this year, and the count was going up that people were, I don't know if they were just seeing it or just breezing right past it, but that didn't reflect in increased sales or emails or any additional interest.
And I also find that Facebook really dives into depending on that boost post.
Yep.
If you don't boost it, you're going to get a very small take back. The one thing I have started to learn in especially some of the stuff I've read on the subject and some other things, and I know this is true especially with Instagram and Twitter, but it does affect Facebook as well. If you are like V was saying, genre specific, if you're going around and commenting and liking and interacting and taking part in, say, dark fantasy or science fiction fantasy stuff, and you're commenting on other people's posts and you're liking stuff and you're sharing their stuff and you're interacting, and you guys have like you're in like 10, 15 of the comment threads going on their posts. It opens up a new kind of spot for when you start sharing stuff, because more people already are seeing you interacting and engaging with other people on Facebook. So it seems for some reason it brings your post reach, and it brings the post it brings it higher on the news feed. That is the one thing I have learned, and I've learned that I've learned it the long and hard way. And I do another show. I engineer a show for a gentleman on Mondays in a whole different realm for dirt track racing. And the night we had Stuart Friesen on, which is now a NASCAR driver for trucks, as well as a dirt modified driver. When we had him on, he had his public PR agents sharing all these posts and putting stuff up here, there, and everywhere. And because the more people were talking about it, the posts went absurd. And I ended up with a reach of like 65,000 with 16,000 viewers on one video. Now, that is the most I've ever had in a course of, since I started doing any kind of stuff like this, with writing, with podcasts and broadcasting and TV and any of that kind of stuff. It's the most views I've ever had since I've been doing this. And I started writing and started going online with some of this stuff back in 2009 and 2010, which I was so new, I didn't even know what I was doing. But over the course of, the last 10 or 15 years, I have learned a lot of different stuff and gotten a lot better many things. But that there, I have noticed that, and I've started applying it for my books. Like if I want to start posting something on the books, which I don't get to do every day, and I wish I did, I go in and start commenting on other poetry and doing, stuff to do with poetry, stuff to do with this, stuff to do with that. And I like theirs, share their stuff and boost it right up. And then I'll share my stuff. And I have noticed a little bit, it's not much, a little bit of more engagement, at least with my posts. Book sales wise, I haven't noticed a huge jump. I mean, I've definitely gotten a few purchases via Amazon from Facebook posts, but not like I someday like it to be.
I think it's interesting you were talking about the way you interact with people, because I've also noticed the words you use, and not just with like ads and boosted posts, but I remember for a while, I think it was like a couple months ago, the fad was to always say like, I'm really excited, or like congrats, or things like that in your post.
Yeah.
And that one would get boosted even if it was like about your book launch, which normally, well, not boosted, like officially boosted, but it would get more traffic.
Huh.
Even though usually, like launch posts or anything like that they think that you could actually boost and pay for to be boosted, they wouldn't give you as much traffic. And so I remember seeing a lot of posts like that, or the fad with any external links, like non-Facebook links. Same deal, like put it in the comments. Use a picture and then put the actual link in the comments, which is frustrating because like people are busy, or just lazy, or whatever it is. Probably busy. They don't want to like scroll down to the comments, because the comment sections are usually horrible, to actually find that link. They just want to click on the picture and have it take them somewhere. So it's like all of these weird little puzzles, and half the time it's like it sort of goes against what you're taught from a marketing perspective, just to game the algorithms.
Well, and the thing is, I've noticed I try to use stuff like that. I'm huge on trying to find out what the new fad is, or the new challenge, or the new this, or whatever there should be. Because if there's like 300 videos being posted in a day's time on a specific fad or a specific challenge or something like that, I do find a way to interact it in with a post in some form of way, at least the wording of it, and post it up there. And I do see that it goes in those categories of that video set. So I mean, yeah, sometimes my book is about depression and anxiety and stuff. So if I see a thing, especially during like PTSD month, awareness month, if there's a thing going on or a challenge going on for that, I will actually try to formulate something, a post wrapped around what that fad is. Like and a huge thing is memes. That's one of the reason I dive myself into a lot of memes. Yes, they're funny. I use it for the comedy relief, but at the same time, I'm also doing a little bit of research on it, because I can take some of those, the background images from the memes, and I can make my own using the language that is on that meme, but sharing my book or a piece of it or something, and then I tag my website on the image or something like that. I found a couple of years ago, when I had first started doing that, the whole keep calm and write on, or keep calm and something. I was huge with that with my radio station. When I was running my own radio station, it would say keep calm and listen to WSPD. And I had more interaction, and people log on and listen to my radio station just because I posted them, those silly memes. And it's really, I guess, the way I have formed my marketing standpoint, based on, I guess, the fad and what's fresh and what's new.
Yeah, and that, I think I don't have the patience or the fortitude to be at the forefront of discovering what is fresh and what's new. Not necessarily that I'm more into jumping on the bandwagon, but I would rather let someone else figure it out and then do what I have to do to get them to share their knowledge with me. So if that means I have to pay somebody, I'm okay with it. If that means, I am learning these things a little bit slower, I'm okay with it. I have dabbled in Facebook ads and BookBub ads and a little bit of Amazon ads, not that much. And I've learned enough about them to know that I don't have the time to do everything I want to do with them. Excuse me. So I think that what's coming up next for me is being able to delegate that to someone else, because my brain doesn't work that way. And the kinds of media engagement and putting myself out there in different groups, in different social media sites, I guess. The thing that I found has been the most influential and crucial for me in terms of growing my online presence, my author presence, my audience, is focusing way less on posts about my books, and focusing way more on these are the things that I super geek out about. Let's find the people who are right there with me. Come join me on this crazy adventure of things that we love. And also, I kind of wrote a book like this, so if you want to check it out, that's cool. If you don't want to, we're hanging out and geeking out about these really cool things that I am super excited about. And that has actually, it's been so awesome to see the response of people who they'll jump right on the train of like, yes, I'm a fan of this so hardcore and I love it. And then, a couple of days later, after we're like going back and forth, super excited, they'll be like, you wrote a book? That's so cool. I'm going to check it out. And that's been really awesome. And then I found that the majority of people who respond to me being super excited about, mostly it's other books, mostly it's Stephen King books, but, they'll stay with me through the whole journey, and they'll be there and like whatever other posts I put up that are somewhat related, and they will comment on them and they will join my other groups and they'll be there supporting other stuff, because the relationship didn't start off as these are my books, buy them, I'm an author, you're a reader, let's do this exchange. It started off as we are humans who like the same stuff, and that's really cool. So come join me on this, and the more you get to know me, the more you'll realize that I am an author. I do have things that I would like you to check out too, and that's been incredible. That's how I prefer to market, I guess. It's more like having fun. Also a huge time suck with not writing and really not, getting anything done that I need to get done, because I have too much fun interacting with people who are having too much fun interacting with me.
Like us earlier today.
Yeah, exactly. It was a lot. I totally geeked out sharing with my insights on HTML, CSS, ebook coding, and all the cheat sheets I'd written for myself and the style sheets. And I was like, yes, you're going to understand this. I can finally share it with someone. And I blew up her Facebook Messenger for like 20 minutes.
Well, you sold me a book. It just wasn't yours.
Yeah.
That's true. I did sell you someone else's book. So that's how it works, right? It's that enthusiasm.
I think
guess that'll do it.
Oh, sorry. I think I'm more like you, Richard. I scour the internet for something funny to post. Generally, it has to do with police, fire, and EMS, or my favorite is police dogs. And I found that the police dogs are the ones that everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
Police dogs in funny situations, at the computer doing the report of the arrest and how he bit the guy and why he bit the guy, and the dog in dispatch and things like that. And so my goal is to make people laugh. If I give them a laugh for the day, that's good. And now I'm getting people who, if I miss a day, are, Dwayne, hey, are you okay, I didn't get the post today. I didn't get my laugh. What's happening? And I think that's paying off as well. That when I post something about my books, it's not something that I've been ramming down their throats. It's
Right.
been funny for months, and now there's a few serious posts, and I get lots of response on that. So that's how I'm using Facebook right now, and it seems to work a little bit.
Good.
Yeah, the platforms are so different too. Like, I mean, not just with the algorithms, but just the way you interact. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Twitter is all like what Kat was saying, where it's like it's just shared screaming into the void and hoping someone hears you and is screaming the same thing. Um, and Facebook is much more like, here's this thing. Oh, here's another thing. And it's like this trade of either it's memes or whatever, games. And it's just a slower version of it, I think. And Twitter, yeah, it's just like rapid fire screaming all the time.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I end up just, I don't really do a lot of interaction on Twitter because I can't keep it. I know you do. And you're always tagging me on stuff, which is great. And I'm like, oh, I made it tagged or stuff like that. I didn't do anything. Thank you. But I will put up tweets about various things because it keeps it there on my profile. So if anyone's looking, they can see all that stuff. But I don't, like, I can't handle the like live whatever things that happen on Twitter where it's like everyone's just constantly posting stuff and whatever the conference is or what, I don't even know.
Oh yeah, I don't do those.
Yeah, but no, I like the much slower pace. I like not feeling freaked out. I think author takeovers on Facebook is about as fast as I can go, and that's me having pre-written posts and trying to be engaged with things and then posting them every 5 minutes for an hour. Like, that's
I gotta agree with you. I actually tried doing one of the live Twitter things, and as a reader, I jumped into one because I was like, oh, I'm all fired up. I'm going to try this. If they're doing it, I got to do it. And I tried it and I just started interacting, and I was like, oh, I was blown away. And of course, I mean, this is a well-known author, crime fiction author, so it was just ridiculous because he had just published his new book. And the way he published it was something that was brand new. He is the only author worldwide to have ever done it. And it was really crazy. So when he did the live Twitter thing, oh my God, we're talking like milliseconds new tweets. So much, like you couldn't even keep up and read everything because you're like, oh my God, and you're scrolling it for like a mile a minute, just trying to see what other people are saying, what he's trying to say as an answer. And it was way too much for me that I had to just log off of it. I was like, I'll go back and read it later.
Yeah. Just hearing about that gives me anxiety.
He had, and I can't even remember which author it was now, but he had released The Chef, and he did it through a platform similar to ManyChat, where literally you would get them. You got the chapters in a Facebook message.
Oh, weird.
And you would get a little box. You get the chapter, and you would get a little box at the end. Once the chapter was there, you could read it, and when you got to the end of it, it would be a button that said "Stop here" or "Continue." And you'd hit continue, and it'd come up with like a YouTube video, and it was some people acting out what was going on in a scene. And then you would get another little snippet to the next chapter and everything else. And it was really neat. I tried doing it. If you actually go to my Facebook, you will get an automated response message, and it talks about my new book. Has a little, I think there's one poem in there, a YouTube video, and a couple other things, just because I was learning with it. And I want to further it along throughout this year, but it was just something I was playing with to learn, because when I launch my crime novel series, I want to do something fun with that. So I figured, well, I'll do it with Shattered Glass. It's my poetry book, just to learn it, figure it out, and figure out how to do it. But I have to do what he did. It costs some money
Yeah, I was
because
gonna
he
say
went
the
through.
budget on that. Right.
Oh my God, I wouldn't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
know what he paid
Yeah.
for it.
Exactly.
But it was really cool. I was like, yeah, I'm going to sign up for this because this is something I'd never heard of. And he was the only author that's ever approached any automated message company to try to do this. And it was just really a new, fresh look at reading a book. And the good thing is like I myself personally, I have ADHD. I work full time. I run this show. I'm writing myself. I'm trying to manage all this social media, and so my time is about 16 seconds in between each thing. That's about how much time I got.
Mhm.
So the cool thing about it is I only have to read the chapter at my leisure, and I don't have to push continue until I'm ready. So it's not as much as I love holding a book and sitting there and opening it and reading it. The feature that he gave was very remarkable, and I liked it. But yeah, that Twitter thing with trying to do a live, oh my God, forget it. I wouldn't recommend it.
I do know people who have done like Twitter threads for stories, never like novel length or anything like that, but usually more like flash fiction. And I think that's kind of nice because like you're already on there, you're already reading the tweets, and it sounds like this messaging thing like that's not taking up much more time than just like flipping open your phone when you're doing whatever, you're on the subway or the toilet or whatever it is. And I think it's a little more daunting when you have so little time to like actually sit down and open up the book. Like I love reading, but I so rarely read because it's like it feels so indulgent in some ways. And even when it's like this is work, this is market research.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can get really daunting.
Yeah.
Real quick before we go into the last part of the subject, I just wanted to shout this out. Over on YouTube, I got some chatting going on with a dear friend of mine, horror author, A.F. Stewart or Anita Stewart. And she's got an app that she uses called Facebook Purity, which is, I guess, a browser app that you can use. And what this does, because I asked her, I said, well, what is that? Because I'd never heard of it before. And it's an app that allows you to modify Facebook to see what you want to see instead of or opposed to what Facebook shows you. So check your browser apps out and your the extensions and such out, and look for Facebook Purity. I know it's on my checklist to check out because that would be a great thing to have, especially in the author realm.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that existed. You can send that to your mom, Richard. She can find all of your Facebook posts.
Right, there you go, Mom. Facebook Purity, and you'll see just me.
Plastered everywhere.
Right, you don't need to see my sister.
Send that to your mom.
So
That's funny.
now I want to dive into another section, and this comes up to a lot of things that V goes into and runs into this issue a lot, and I think Catherine had made mention on it herself as well. But content blocking along with the book marketing. Now we all know they say don't judge a book by its cover, but 90% of our sales come because of what is on the cover of our book, especially when you're sharing it via social media. So a lot of problems we have been this day and age, a lot of filtering. God forbid, you see a skin arm or something, and it just isn't right, and people got to flag it. And so they've come up with this new concept, content blocking. Where are you all three of you, running into problems with that or seeing a spike in with content blocking?
I haven't gotten blocked so much as like what I spoke about before with like the stifling of the posts. But I'm sort of lucky in like, okay, so I have romantic subplots, a lot of which are either gay or lesbian or queer in some way. But I don't, like my main plot, my genre isn't romance. And I think that honestly helps me a little bit. So when I'm doing things like running ads or boosting posts or whatever it is, specifically on Facebook, I haven't run into this issue as much on other platforms, but I also haven't used the ads on other platforms as much. So it might just be a matter of time. But I mostly just focus on the genre, and I might like work in a few things. Like I'll mention like, oh, she meets this mysterious woman, and I'll let people use their brains. But like I won't use actual words that I'm afraid that they're going to block. And when it comes to images, because I'm not writing romance at this time, I don't have like the shirtless men or the woman with her shoulder exposed, except for apparently me. I don't use images like that. But I do know this woman who ran into an issue. Her book cover was just a woman wearing a bathrobe, like a mommy bathrobe, not like a negligee.
A mommy.
And sorry, Kat.
Am I the only mom on the show right now? So
Yep.
I'm a dad.
God, mom.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
funny.
Continue.
But
Sorry.
yeah, she got blocked, and this was the same time that Dove ad was running on Facebook, where there was like the woman with a completely bare back, and her ad was flagged. And it's like, one of these things is less clothed than the other, and it's not the romance novel for once. So yeah, she had a lot of issues with that. But mostly I found just like gaming the system with words has really worked for me. But again, like I've only dabbled in Amazon ads like Kat, and I'm really curious to see how that goes. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, with the Amazon ads, is that gonna? I see that Amazon and Facebook love working together.
Oh yeah, they're snuggle buddies.
Yeah, exactly. So when we run Amazon ads as indie authors through our KDP, is that something that is going to be automatically posted through our Facebook, through our with our Author Central? I'm just curious because I don't
think
know.
it's automatic. I think it might
Probably
have something
shareable.
with the readers.
Okay, so based on the readers and the shareability, and of course boosts.
Yeah, like you might see my Amazon ads, but that might be because you like my Amazon genre, whatever it is. I think it's a combination. I don't think it's an auto run. Like Facebook and Instagram will be the same because Facebook owns Instagram.
Right.
But I think because it's not completely the same, it's not automatic. But again, that might change.
Right. Well, because like you said, they are snuggle buddies. I mean, I've had reviews taken off of Amazon on my books because the person that left the review is in my friends list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're definitely connected. But I think when you're paying them, they care less, which is shitty. But I mean, excuse me, crappy.
Oh. I've heard worse. There goes iTunes.
Was doing so well.
TVMA. How about you, Dwayne? Have you ran into content blocking, especially with it being crime fiction? With the murder scenes and such like that. Have you run into any of those issues?
No, I haven't. My covers have passed, so they're okay. I haven't been content blocked, but I've had beta readers and my editor say, yeah, okay, it went a few paragraphs too far in describing the murder scene or the injury. Maybe you could take that back up and end up here instead of continuing on. So I guess I've had the advantage of people pointing it out to me before there was a block, I guess.
Do you go ahead?
I was just gonna say, Dwayne, do you ever use like trigger warnings or something on your posts? Because I haven't on any of mine, And I'm always curious how those change the algorithms, not just from like a reader perspective, but from an actual like the way the computer's reading it.
Oh, that's a really good question. I actually haven't thought of that.
Yeah, me neither. I just like it just occurred to me now. So.
I think yeah, that's a good idea. I know some of the articles that come out say, look at the authors in your genre, look at the successful authors, and see what are the key words that they're using, how do they phrase a sentence, and that sort of thing.
Yep.
That will be it should put you into the right category with the right group of people. It should, but whatever the algorithm is may only be 4% still, even if you do that.
Yeah, I think the should have some dollar signs behind it.
I actually like that. I do have a question for you, Dwayne, and I know it is completely off our main topic of the night, but just because you're on here, and I think I want to try to work out a one-on-one interview later on, being that we're both into crime and stuff. I think it'd be a fun episode. But my question to you is, as a crime author, and being an ex-cop, is it easy for you to write the scenes?
Yeah, I think it is. I can get I can get it on paper, and then it needs to be cleaned up. But and that my editor does that. But I can visualize the scene. I can see all the characters, what they're doing, and give them their tasks. And I take it from both directions too. So it's as a police officer, and then after the bad guy shot or the police officer shot, I bring in the paramedics, and then I give the paramedics treatment as well. So both of those, I guess, are second nature to me. So I know exactly what the paramedics are going to do, and I know what the procedures are in a shooting incident or an active shooter. I know what the police are going to do. And I guess I said it earlier, but I throw in the conversations that are happening between the police officers or between the paramedics at the scene. And that really brings the personal touch to it, I think.
Now, do you, have with your writing and your characters and such? Do you find it easy to write your characters?
Yes. Short answer, yes. So one of my series is archaeological sci-fi. So obviously, I draw a lot from my day job, though I haven't, yet discovered a secret alien civilization.
Yeah. It's coming.
Again, fingers crossed.
Meanwhile, Dwayne is still eyeballing the skull behind you.
Yeah, that's Steven.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
I didn't find him. I mean, I found him in an antique store. But
wait a minute now, you found that in an antique furniture. Did you?
Yeah, well, in an antique store.
Okay, antique
had,
store.
A medical, medical specimen section, which I went haywire with.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I definitely work in my day job. I have a little thing at the end of my first book of that series that says, like, if you hear your story or your anecdote in this as one of my coworkers, sorry. But yeah, for the most part, it's like, I combine things and twist things. I try not to add too much jargon, and I haven't gotten a lot of reviews that have complained about too much jargon. But it is sort of hard to walk that line because I love my job and I find it super fascinating, but like, we are digging square empty holes most of the time, so there's only so much you can put in before the reader just shuts the book.
Yeah.
Now, how about you, Catherine? Since I've asked everybody, I'll throw that your way. How easy is it to write your characters?
It's always easy. I don't think I've ever actually struggled with getting into the head or mindset of any of my characters, and maybe that's just strategic selection on my part, but obviously I'm not drawing from my own professional experience for my characters, because I don't want to write a book about someone writing a book about someone writing a book. I don't think anyone wants to read that either. But
You kidding? That's the next new reality show.
Oh gosh, don't. The way reality TV is heading, you never know. Jeez. But no, I do find it incredibly easy to write my characters, most of whom are seriously messed up and flawed anti-heroes. Some of them start out at the beginning of a book just completely and irrationally unlikable, and I turn that upside down through the book, or vice versa. They start out as someone like you want to root for, and then they just kind of fall. So I play with arcs and reverse arcs, I suppose. I don't particularly enjoy writing perfect or mostly perfect characters or people who have an easy time of things and during the story are coming upon their own personal conflict for the first time in their life. So I yes, I draw from my own personal experience in that I prefer to write characters who have been through the ringer. And I'm at a point in my life where I can do that now after I have been through the ringer myself. And so, on the other side of it, drawing my connection to my characters, my inspiration from that in a wealth of different stories, because it's sci-fi and fantasy. I would love to say that I have lived in different worlds. Maybe one day I still will. Who knows? But no, that serious internal struggle, internal darkness, the digging one's own hole, and trying to figure out how to get back out again is where I connect.
Now you're going to put V in your next book.
It might
I hope
happen.
so.
You never know. She can get herself in and out. So.
I've had some readers say that I write the bad guys better than I write the good guys. So I don't know if that means if you're a great cop, you can get into the bad guys' heads or something like that.
Well, I was just going to say, is that something to do with the psychological training you've had working with an assailant or criminal?
The right answer would be to say yes. That's absolutely it. I think I just have an evil mind, and the police characters I know, the bad guys I don't. So I probably spend more time working on the bad guy characters, and therefore I put a little more depth into them. Maybe
Takes one to know one.
Right.
Well.
Oh, but all right. Well, we are reaching down to the last little bit of our show. What I like to do is, before we end, I like to let everybody in the world know where we can legally stalk you. So we will start, ladies before gentlemen, with V. Where can we find you legally on Facebook or social media, the web, the World Wide Web, and all of that good stuff?
You can find, so my website is vsholmes.com, and that's Holmes as in Sherlock. And on Facebook, I'm facebook.com/author vsholmes. And Twitter, because I love Twitter, and Instagram, if you don't mind seeing bugs and dead things and my dog, who's very much alive. I'm vs_Holmes.
All right, Catherine, where can we legally stalk you?
Legally, that's funny. I actually had a reader want to send me a present that he made me, which was super awesome. And he was like, "You should get a P.O. box, though, because I don't want your address." So I actually went and got a P.O. box so he can send me this present. He carved a wooden dragon for me. It was very cool. Anyway, beyond my P.O. box, I can be found on my website. It's CatherineHudsonFiction.com. Facebook and Instagram, I'm both Catherine Hudson Fiction. Twitter is Exquisitely Dark. That is my publishing imprint is Exquisite Darkness Press. Not that you need to know that, but that's where I can be legally stalked and found as well.
All right, Dwayne, where can we find you?
My website is dwayneclayton.com, and I'm on Facebook at Dwayne Clayton Author. And my email is dwayneclayton@gmail.com.
Alrighty. I am Richard White. You can find me online at authorrichardwhite.com. You can also find me on all social medias across the board, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and all the rest of them too. Pinterest. If you can look it up, you can find me at author Richard White. I also do have a Discord, but you got to ask me and to get an invite code and all of that. You are welcome to join my Discord. Anyone out there that wants it is welcome to come into my world. However, it is crazy in there. I swear to God, it is nuts. The reason why, because at author Richard White, I wander through fiction to find the truth. So, have a lovely night. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for being on the show. And thank you so much for the season 2 premiere of Authors Write Aloud. If you are interested in being on the show or taking part in the show in any way or sponsoring the show, please email me at author@authorrichardwhite.com or visit authorrichardwhite.com and click on Authors Write Aloud for further instruction. Have a great night, and we will talk to you all later.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Thank you.